Hi and welcome back to Aaron's 1972 Datsun 510, and today we're going to put some doors on this guy. So what I learned on the other side of the car is that it's actually much easier to maybe reach in and use a wrench to take these bolts out that are holding this, scribe a line here so that way I know exactly where these were at, and then put the doors back on. Put these on the doors and then put the doors back on, versus this deal of trying to get them slotted in right here, which I was having a terrible time to do. I might also have to find the bolts. They might not be on the door themselves, which is gonna suck if they're not. Let's get the doors out. I've had them stored over there for like 2 years now. It's pretty nice that I'm gonna be able to put them back on the car. Let's go ahead and get one out. I've been looking for this. That's really cool. Yes. You guys, I looked all over for this thing, and I couldn't find it. And so I am genuinely just spotted this. Super excited. It's great news. I'm glad I got this on film instead of switching to time-lapse. You wouldn't have been able to see this. This is legitimately being excited about something. Not that I'm not excited about this whole project, but it is dragging on. Okay. I'm gonna get this door out of here. Okay. Move this over here. Probably gonna scratch the paint. I'm gonna bring this one too. Got it. Before I move the camera around. Talking to myself, narrating this to myself. Hope you guys like it. They're definitely not in the door themselves. So where did I put them? Riddle me this. Where did I put those? I've got to do some looking, so I'll go ahead and take you off the camera for a few minutes. Check it out. 2 years later, I was still able to find every single one of the bolts. So pretty happy about that. Didn't think it was going to happen there for a few minutes. I went back and watched my old videos, couldn't really see anything, so I went back through my boxes and found them. Let's get to it. So I've laid this blanket down trying to maybe not scratch this surface as much as I scratched the other side. I'll just come back through with some filler paint and paint back over it. I'm going to attempt to not take these off first and see if I can hang these up and put these on real quick. If it doesn't line up, then I'll go back to taking these pieces off, putting on that, and then putting them on the dill. But we'll see how it works. That went on so much easier than the other side. So happy about that. I think what happened on the other side is whenever I installed the rocker panel, I think I brought it up a tiny bit too much, and so I had to do a lot of fiddling to try to get it shut. The driver's side, I clearly got it closer to the original height, and so I'm giving myself more room to do this. So pretty happy with that. Let's see how the next door goes on. But that's one door, and that was way less time. It took me almost a full day to do the other side, so pretty happy about this. Everything's going really well today. I know that's probably foolish to say out loud because now it's probably going to go terrible, but I still have faith that it's going to go okay. Well, that went surprisingly well. Much better than the other side. This fits better. It's not nearly as snug as that other side. So clearly I brought this too far forward, and I even remember cutting off a small piece here on the other side. So clearly I did something a little bit wrong on that part of this piece. Like, should have rotated it down and brought the whole thing down a little bit, but that's, doors are on. Guys, like, things like this just, it's such a good feeling. So very excited about this. I'll keep sort of putting stuff together as I work on the car. I obviously still have to finish this back panel, but now that I've got this done, I can, you know, sort of work on that a little bit easier and have those out of the way. But yeah, check that out. Good day. Step this way. In the next part of the video, we're going to go ahead and put on the interior pieces here for this pillar, and then the outer seal that goes along the door for both the back door and the front door. And we're going to move over to the passenger side and try to do the same. Let's get to it. I've determined that filming inside the interior of a black interior car is not easy, it's just hard to see everything. But you'll see that I put on these trim pieces with some spray adhesive. That spray adhesive I've had for several years, and it works really well to put on interior pieces like this. So once I get that in place, I put on the lower B-pillar covers. Once I get the lower B-pillar covers on, I go ahead and start putting in the door seal pieces. These have already been bent into shape over the years, and so I'm just trying to get them into the same spot that they came out of, and I use a rubber mallet to sort of hammer it into place and walk it around the perimeter of the door. Once I get that done, I can move to the chrome inner sill pieces, or lower sill pieces, that you'll see me work with here in a few minutes. And that was all pretty difficult probably to follow, but I put in the, using upholstery glue, I went ahead and put back in the two cloth pieces that go here, really more of a vinyl. The door surrounds, the black pieces, the trim pieces that go on the B-pillar, like I said, the door surrounds, and I put back in all of the seat belts and tightened them down. So we are good to go there. I also went ahead and installed the seat belts. The seat belts are held in by 16mm bolts. One here that I'm tightening right now, one down in the inner sill, which you saw me, if you watch previous videos, reinforce and tighten on this car, and then one holding the inside one here that's under the carpet, so I had to lift up the carpet and install that. Now that I've got that down, I'll go ahead and replace the kick panels here, and for each of the sills I'll go ahead and clean them up with a little bit of steel wool before I place them in, and then I'll put them down. Notice that it's got screw holes in it that I don't have in the new panels, so I will go ahead and drill small holes in order to insert screws into the car. So we'll go ahead and do that next. So the next piece that I'm going to place in is this piece that bridges this gap. So it goes, slides behind there, here, and then also right here. That needs to go over the piece. So you actually go up above, slide down, and then it locks in these pieces. I can see one hole, two holes that are right where they need to be, and this hole I'm pretty sure I patched over, and so I'll have to drill a new hole for that as well. But that gives us that, and I will go through with a hammer, small hammer, and just tap that lightly, sort of to get it smoothly flush across that. Notice I put this piece in first. As you see this downward hump, this allows us to take these pieces and place them where they're supposed to go. Now, if I did it correctly, it would be like that, but that would be the wrong side. So let's try the correct side. This says, I was intelligent enough to say This says passenger rear, so this actually is the right one. It says driver rear, okay? So it goes like this, and I keep putting it backwards. So it says it's supposed to go like that, but that's clearly wrong. So this says driver rear. Am I just an idiot? No, definitely not. That goes inside the car, underneath there. That goes on the outer panel. I have written the wrong thing to try to help myself in the future. This goes like this on this side of the car. So it goes like this, and goes like so on the car. This locks this piece in, that skirts the door, as well as provides you the scuff plate here. So now that we've got that sort of just in place, I'm going to do a trial shut of the door to see whether it shuts. Here's hoping. No problems. Okay, so before I place that piece in, I will go ahead and run some steel wool over it and sort of clean it up some. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show you what I'm doing here. So you can see, hopefully, you can see the dings here. I'm specifically going to try to get this one right above the A. And I'm going to try to just bring it out to where it's smooth. So I've got this paper sort of as just a smooth surface slash slightly softer than the cement. Got that. So here, see that spot? It's pretty pronounced on this side. So I'm just taking this. I'm just, again, small taps, letting the so I let the rotation, so you can see that again, right? See how smooth that is? Much smoother, less of a dent there. And the way that I let that do that is as I hit this piece, so there's a curve, right? So I have it up here, and as I hit it, I rotate it out, and it's sort of like it's carving, right? So I'm doing that along the actual dents there in that spot. And the hope is, because I've got this far long surface, if you will, it's spreading that out across that whole area and bringing that irregular sort of rise up there. It's actually flattening back down to the surrounding area. So it's making it a lot smoother, and the bumps and dings not nearly as pronounced in that area. So that's what I'm doing here. Just see if I can show you one more that's in pretty bad shape. I can bring out. Some of these are pretty bad. This one is sort of like the whole thing is bent a little bit, so it's not as easy, but let's look at this one. So you can see this pretty well dinged up. So we're gonna go here, go back like this. As always with this project, my camera died. So here's a picture of the dent before and after that I took from screenshots here during that. It turns out much better. So this rest of this part of the video is just me doing each of those here where I clean the parts and then I remove dents from them. It hurts my heart a little bit to drill right into these brand new rocker panels, but installing the scuff plates is what's needed. Notice the small holes at the front and rear of that scuff plate. They are used to fill the rocker panel with wax. This is something that I need to order that will rust protect the inner sills. That's something that I want to do before I get this car out and drive it around in the rain or anything else. Luckily, Las Vegas right now is not really that big of a concern for water on the ground. So several months ago, I sanded and wire wheeled this front frame. Now I'm using some self-etching primer to go ahead and make sure it's good. I cut out a little bit of video there while the paint dried, and then I put a layer of black paint or the rubberized undercoating on it just to seal it up. We're about to transition to different parts of the project, so bear with me. Sorry about the rough transition. The next part of the video, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the glove box and the surround and put it back in the car. You can see that on the back side there's dust. And I took off some parts that I didn't need to take off that I thought maybe I did. So I'll put those back on as well and get it all put back together. Clean up the back side of this just with some cleaner so it's clean as it goes back into the car. You can see there's mounting holes here on the side as well as along the bottom here, and additional here on the inside of the glove box. I'll try to get all this put back together. That's what we'll do next. Sometimes you should stick to your gut feeling. These bolts I thought were the right ones, but they didn't screw in all the way just because there was a little bit of resistance there, so I thought maybe they weren't, and they didn't have the right size of washer here. But then I got through looking through my parts and I realized I had an extra set of small washers, so I put those over the top, and lo and behold, they work just fine. I should have went with my first gut feeling, and then I would have been done with this like 5 minutes ago. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean up on the inside of the car. You'll see the amount of dirt that I've gotten there, and then go ahead and reinstall this. Once again, that black interior strikes. Oh man, you can't see anything. There was a lot of dust, and so I cleaned it out with a vacuum first, and then I used some cleaner and wiped down all the surfaces so that way they were clean before I put in the parts. I suggest that you always have a Bondo lid in order to ensure that you can keep all of your screws and nuts where they need to go. But the interior of the car is looking a little bit cleaner, so that is good. So upon closer inspection, this is fine right here. There's a bit of more of a gap than I really want it to be, but right here it's actually too close and it's actually hitting against here. So what I'm going to attempt to do is take off the pillar cover here, loosen these bolts just a tiny bit, open this door, and just ever so slightly pick up the back end of it a little bit. I've got enough space here and here around the rest of the car to, if I do that just a tiny bit, I might be able to get it off of this spot here and still meet all of my gaps around the rest of the car. We'll see what that looks like. Alright, that's probably going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you like to see that the car's coming back together, just trying to do little parts on it. I'm trying to push forward, just keep pushing forward. So in the next video, I'm going to start tackling the steering parts. That's really the last part that I need to have this car fully functioning, and then it goes back to reassembling the rear end, putting the lights in, putting the trim work on, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get that along with the fenders done before I pull out the paint gun again, so I can paint all of it at the same time. So hopefully that'll be in the next video, is the steering work and or working on the front fenders, getting the rust repair on those done. There's a lot of little fit and finish things that aren't going to be perfect on this car. Sorry, but it's definitely going to be better than it was.